everybody, I am Belinda, also known as B, and welcome to my channel, Can't Be Bothered. This is my little van, Rusty, who was given to me by my darling husband as a birthday gift. It is a 2003 Toyota Hi-Ace and it is long wheelbase. It is diesel and it is manual. And I'm going to share with you our little process of converting this van into a camper van, very specifically for camping for me when I want to go camp, solo female camping, but we've built it in such a way that if hubby wants to come with, then there's enough bed for two of us. So it is built for two, even though it is only me mostly using it. So let's see what I've done. We've treated the floor, rust protected it. Then we started cutting out a piece of plywood for the flooring. And this was a bit of a tricky situation around every bend and corner, but we did it. This model of Hi-Ace have access to the gearbox there in the front where he's working now, and we had to cut the floor out around that access point to the gearbox so that whenever we do need to work on the gearbox we can still access that panel, lift it open and access the gearbox. So the floor had to go around that. Then we screwed down the floor. Hubby also gave some external bits a bit of a facelift, spray painting things like the wheels, and he polished quite a bit around the vehicle. And then I started laying the floor tiles, which were only vinyl tiles, and it was a bit tricky because I had to start also away from that gearbox well so that I don't cover the floor over that. We did this very cheaply, so we were given floor tiles, but we didn't have enough floor tiles to do the entire floor, and the rear part of the van would be all under the bed, so we used a different kind of tile, that one there, for the back end of the van that would be under the bed and would also be the garage or storage area. We only used pallet wood throughout the entire build. We went to pick up some pallet wood that was thrown out by a company, and I sanded every single piece of wood in this build. I burned it with a blowtorch, and then I polished it with shoe polish. Then we built the bed. The bed consists out of 3 small trestle tables. Here hubby joined them together so that they make one solid piece, but it wasn't wide enough. It wasn't quite wide enough for a queen size mattress. We did, however, add these pieces of timber on both sides of the table to extend it to completely the size of a queen size bed. Then I wanted to build a little division wall between the bed and the kitchen. So I assembled this little wall to separate the two. Then I started with the kitchen. The first part of the kitchen was built completely around our size of our fridge freezer, and I completed this side of that wall. Then I started cupboards on the opposite side. This will be over the gearbox entry, so I made this cupboard so that it can just join the other cupboard with an L bracket that you can unscrew and pull this whole piece of cupboard away if you need to get access to the gearbox. Here everything is just balanced and worked out. Nothing was assembled there yet. Next up, we wanted to put a wall between the front cab and the rear part of the van. We wanted to separate the cab from the van, and this is the wall that we are cutting out here. This proved to be a very painful exercise because this van has more curves than a Grand Prix racetrack. When we finally got him in, I also gave him a bit of a burn and I gave him a polish. And then we started with our shelves, and we used our little equipment like our kettle down there, and we used our little gas stove to determine the heights of the shelves we needed. We did board it up at the back of that cupboard at the end. I'm not sure if we filmed that.
So there's no hinges or anything, so you just lift it up. It's got these little stoppers, so that just goes up, sits there, and then you can open your fridge and your freezer. Let's get your stuff out, put it on that counter, just lift it up a little bit, back into place. This one here is going to be a sink that can come out. You can lift this top out, the water goes on the bottom. You can take about 2, maybe 3 containers of water. Then on this side I've put a little top on here, and same principle as that. Got 2 little stoppers there, got a little aluminium plate there to stop it from sliding out. So that just sits in there, nice and sturdy. And then I've put a board in front of the fridge with 2 little latches there. That comes off and comes out. Put 2 little brackets at the bottom there to hook in. So that just hooks in the bottom plank. Put it back in its place and hold it secure with those 2 little wooden blocks.
Wherever it was possible, we only used recycled materials, recycled wood. IGA was throwing out some of their signs and wood and shelving, and we collected some of those. He also made the same similar type of doors, but the reason we wanted to have doors without hinges was because that space there is very small to move in, and then at the same time try and open doors. So I made the doors so that they are completely removable. Next up, I was going to convert these countertops so that they do not look like IGA special signs. I covered them in a kind of wallpaper, and this was, I think, walnut texture, and just to make them look better, but in a cheaper way than actually buying countertops. Then came a ceiling that I wanted to install because I was going for the log cabin look. Next was some shelves throughout the van. And then I had to sew some curtains. Then we added the awning onto the side of the van. And he added the last final bits for my shower to operate. Now I invite you to come and join me on a camping trip. And if you want to see the final result, the full van tour of the final result, I invite you to join my channel, follow, subscribe, and keep an eye out for the full van tour video that will come shortly. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.